For some reason, every space movie has some kind of asteroid field that bombards the ship with massive chunks of asteroid debris. And anytime the crew is in sleep mode, it always seems to cause some malfunction that leaves the crew stranded or in a life-threatening situation, like all the power goes out or the oxygen depletes. When will these shipbuilders ever realize this and come up with a different plan than running head-on into an asteroid field? How cool is this when the beds can wake you up in such a manner? Kids would never be late for school if the bed could implant some clears and shock you awake.
Good morning, James. How are you feeling? The Avalon is on final approach. For the next 4 months, you'll enjoy space travel at its most luxurious. Food, fun, friends.
Why would the ship, even working normally, wake up the passengers 4 months before they arrive to the new planet? The crew maybe, just to make sure the ship is intact and do any repairs in order to land. But why the passengers? Even a week would be enough time to get them acclimated to being awake again and would not need all the entertainment the ship is offering. Maybe they could have taken the extra time they spend on the dancing, dining, and entertainment aspects and put it to better use, like in keeping the ship safe from asteroids.
To help you recover from hibernation, be sure to drink plenty of fluids.
Did those pods not feed or hydrate them? If they were just in stasis, why would they need hydration then?
Let's start things off with one of my favorites back on Earth.
Jim is getting ready as if he's getting ready to go to the club. I guess all that talk of dancing and dining from the ship really worked.
Just own it. Own it, Jim. You got a cool jacket.
Welcome, Learning Group 38, your introduction to colonial life. But for many, populated.
I'm sorry, I think I may be in
Hold
the
all
wrong...
questions till the end, please.
Where
Life.
are all the other...
And there's no calling worlds.
Where is everybody? But I'm the only one here. So why am I alone?
We're all in this together.
It took Jim this long to notice something isn't right and start asking some questions. Not that it would have done any good asking sooner, but you never know. There could have been a catastrophe on board, and the time it took him to shower and look at himself in the mirror could have been time he could have used to figure out what was going on.
Please.
Bridge access requires special authorization.
Maybe it's just me, but every building in the 21st century has a fire alarm. Is there no place on this ship that an emergency button or lever was placed for emergencies? What if someone from the ground crew on Earth was accidentally locked in the ship during takeoff and needed to wake someone up for help, if only so they didn't use up all the supplies for the passengers during their 100-year trek on board?
Welcome to the observatory. What can I show you?
We're supposed to land soon. I'm the only one awake.
I don't understand. What can I show you?
Every video game player has experienced this situation. You're trying to get answers to solve the puzzle or win the game, and the only interactive area doesn't understand what you're asking, and then repeats its question.
Will arrive in approximately 90 years.
Thank you.
Message sent. Message will arrive in 19 years.
Wait, what?
Earliest reply in 55 years.
Again, where's the emergency switch? 55 years? You're telling me that the passenger said there's an emergency, and not only did the ship charge him for the customer service line to Homestead, but they sent it in Space's version of snail mail. Was there no quicker way to get messages back and forth from Avalon to Earth? And no panic button in various areas to alert the rest of the ship in the event of an emergency?
It's good to see another face.
You look like a whiskey man.
Okay. Oh, you're a robot.
Android, technically.
I would love to have this guy. Who wouldn't want a bartender this lifelike and so on point with picking up social cues and the ability to have whatever type conversation you're looking for?
How long until we get to Homestead 2?
About 90 years or so.
And when are all the passengers supposed to wake up?
Not till the last 4 months.
How is it that I'm sitting here with you? with 90 years to go.
Yeah, right. The engineers spent so much time figuring out down to the smallest detail everything about the flight to the new planet, hibernation, all the dining and entertainment, and for some reason didn't think to store this guy until people woke up. I get the holograms coming online when the motion sensors detect someone, but this is an android who would have been using up needed power and polishing the same glasses for 120 years until people woke up and came to the bar. What would those glasses look like after 120 years of being polished? It's like they put the same amount of effort into this guy as they did the emergency button. Jim is using every tool on the ship to get this door open, and he's not even denting it. Why would they bring these tools if they won't even work on the ship? Sure, the door may be made of strong material, but if the bridge was blocked off from the rest of the ship, would the crew not be able to rescue them?
I did exactly what you just did.
Yeah, right. This ship has elites traveling to the new planet, certainly wealthy who could either afford the ticket or were picked because they had money and influence, and the ship's engineers thought this dance-off game was going to be a big hit with them.
Come back, hey! Come here.
In the previous scene, we see Jim throwing food on the floor so the room cleaners will pick it up. And in this scene, it shows Jim living slovenly in his room, apparently not having cleaned or straightened it up in some time. Did the robots not tidy up the passengers' quarters, or are they only subject to the common areas? And why didn't the engineers put some effort into the maid staff for passengers' quarters? They have a robot or android for everything else.
Searching passenger profiles.
I'm Aurora Lane, passenger 1456.
Is this really the first time Jim has thought to go through the passenger profiles in his search for human connection? This is after Facebook and Instagram, and we know people are nosy. After his initial bout of going wild with the upgraded room, dance-off, and basketball, you know he would have explored this section of the ship. I assume everyone had to go through this interview, and Jim would have had to do one himself. So why did it take him so long to hear another voice?
Say you were trapped on a desert island, and you had the power to wish somebody there with you. You wouldn't be alone anymore. But you'd be stranding a person on the island. Would you make that wish?
What in the world is wrong with Jim? This would have been the first thing I would have done. All this time he spent moping around and dreading life, and he finally decides to wake someone up, and it's this woman, and her only skills are writing and drinking coffee. After a week, I would have had a whole squad of engineers and scientists awake to fix the pod problem. They'd figure it out or we'd die together. If anything, they would want to look over the ship and make sure there wasn't anything else wrong with it in case the entire ship was in jeopardy.
Well, that seems like a fine idea. You could use some company.
Okay, I'm going to harp on the ship's lack of planning and resources. We've got robots to clean the hallways, but no maids for quarters. No emergency button for emergencies, and you have to pay for a message to the customer service line. The ship even has a sushi lounge and bar with androids serving you. You would think there would be some amenities like a masseuse and day spa. And why was there no barber? Were these people going to wait for 4 months before a haircut? And how is he able to go from looking like this to looking like this by himself? So many questions here. Why not just press the thaw button to wake her up? Is he trying to recreate what happened to his pod, or is he covering up his tracks so it looks like she was accidentally woken up too so he doesn't get found out? If this is the case, why was he worried? Nobody else is awake to look into the matter, and he'll be dead long before anyone does wake up. And Aurora is a writer, so she doesn't have the technical expertise to determine why she woke up.
It's perfectly normal to feel confused.
Jim has been awake for over a year by himself, and he's had the run of the mill on the ship. It doesn't say how long it took before he started not caring and doing whatever he wanted, but I have to wonder how long it took him to clean up around the ship so it doesn't look as bad as his room previously. We know the robot cleaners aren't cleaning anything but the hallways, and there's no maid service. Jim was walking around wearing nothing but a blanket on his front side, so who knows what he was doing in different areas of the ship. I hope he double-checked everything just to make sure nothing embarrassing was left behind.
The crew's in a secure hibernation room. Everything important, the controls, the reactors, the engines, it's all behind firewalls. There's no way through.
Again, I have to ask myself why the ship was made this way. What happens if life support malfunctioned in this section and the crew needed help getting out? Is there no way to rescue them? I understand the need for security and protecting the crew from a potential crazy passenger, but the crew is supposed to wake up before the passengers and would likely have gone to sleep after the passengers, so what would be the problem? And apparently the pods don't malfunction, so there would be no need for this much security around the crew's pods. At a minimum, you'd think there would be an emergency button to alert the crew in case something did happen, like a stewardess has on an airplane to speak with the captain.
Aurora. I can't find it! I know I should be working the problem, but I can't even keep my eyes open.
Why was Aurora not given a drink or told to hydrate like the ship did for Jim? Is the ship jealous that Jim woke Aurora up?
I think I'm gonna have to.
Arthur, can you keep a secret? Jim, I'm not just a bartender. I'm a gentleman.
Don't tell Aurora that I woke her up. If she thinks it was an accident, let me tell her.
Of course.
And just like that, Jim was cut off. Now this looks like an emergency alert. It's been established that the pods don't malfunction, but does the ship's emergency alert not wake up any of the crew for unexpected emergencies like this? Everyone would be asleep during most of the voyage, so if the engineers thought ahead to have this alert come up, why would it not wake up the crew? Yeah, right. Jim already showed her this hatch and explained to her that the crew is behind this impenetrable wall, and she saw all the tools he tried using over the last year without success. So she thought she would pick up a sledgehammer and start pounding away like it would help somehow? She must be a fiction writer. I really like the idea of the pool on the ship. I'm not sure how practical it would be, especially if there was a chance that they would lose gravity, and who knows how that much additional water for recreation would affect the ship launching from a planet. But can we take a moment and appreciate how the pool overhangs the side of the ship like this?
Why did you do it?
Do what?
Immigrate. Leave Earth. I'm interviewing you.
She's obviously given up on finding a solution to their problem just like Jim has, and with boredom setting in and nothing else to do, she decides to interview Jim as the first person to wake up from a malfunctioning pod. If I'm lost in space with a lifetime to do whatever I want and nothing to worry about, the last thing I'm doing is interviewing someone.
I'm a journalist. I know people.
Really? This one. Is he a banker, a teacher, or a gardener?
Banker.
He's a gardener. And her, is she a Madison, Donna, or Lola?
Donna's too serious for that hair. Lola.
Madison.
Shit.
She's right. She is full of SH.
All right. A round-trip ticket.
That's right. I was gonna fly to Homestead 2, live for a year, and then right back to Earth.
Yeah, right. So she decided to go on a 241-year journey to another planet so she could come home and write about it? Everybody she ever knew, both on Earth and on Avalon, would be dead. And you know if you miss one day of work, you get fired. She's missing 241 years and expects to still have a job when she gets back. Maybe she plans to be the first journalist to do this. But there were other planets being created. So what happens if someone from one of those planets goes back to Earth to do the same thing? Is she okay being number 2 to do this? It sounds like she didn't think this through very well.
I'll never write it now. I don't know if I'll ever write again.
Who's the lovely lady?
This is Aurora.
Aurora. A pleasure.
Is this really the first time she's met Arthur or seen the dance-off in basketball rooms? She was running from one side of the ship to another, but didn't come across these areas? Jim saw the bartender on day 1, and it didn't take him but a few days to find everything else. What was she doing that she didn't accidentally, if not intentionally, find these other amenities? And now that I think about it, why didn't we see Jim at the swimming pool area? He was here over a year exploring the ship, and the first time we see it is with Aurora? No wonder these two will die in space alone. They suck at searching. Of course, the first time we see Jim seeing the pool is when he's creeping on Aurora. And this is certainly not a good look for Jim after the pool scene.
Hop in. You're next.
What about my dress?
Did she not see him suiting up? And is this the first time this question came up? And is Jim wearing a full-on dinner suit under his spacesuit? Let's not damage your only space suits, all right?
You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen.
What else was he going to say? She's the only woman he'll ever interact with for the rest of his life. Or did he already look through the other pods and she was the best-looking woman from the 5,000 colonists in stasis? Maybe we missed a few scenes when Jim decided to wake Aurora up over somebody else.
How was your day?
Good. I wrote a few pages.
Says every writer, ever.
Attention. You may wish to proceed to a viewing area.
So if the pods never malfunctioned and nobody was awake during the voyage, was the ship going to make this announcement to an empty ship? It's almost as if Homestead knew this would happen, so they left certain amenities on, like the bartender, ship announcements, and lights. Maybe this is why there hasn't been a journalist who's come back to Earth to document the new planets that have been colonized. Maybe they were all failures.
That was amazing.
That's what she said.
A red giant.
Yes, I woke you up.
How could you do it?
Hello? Did you not hear him say you're the most beautiful woman he's ever seen? He looked through the whole ship, and you're the one. And this is probably when he got the idea to wake up the second most beautiful woman he's ever seen. Side note, if this was the closet for the room, where are his clothes? Was she taking up the whole closet?
I hope you finally find someone who fills your heart, and I hope you let him in.
And maybe this is where Aurora gets the idea to wake up the most handsome man she's ever seen before.
That's strange. I should be getting diagnostics from all over the ship right here, but there's no data.
That is strange. We've been seeing the computer warnings and alerts since this started.
You okay?
Hibernation hangover. Get it all the time.
Maybe you should have some of that drink Jim had when he first woke up.
Gravity loss means that whatever's wrong is starting to hit the big-ticket items.
Not good. Every failure is a burnt-out processor. Everything on board's thinking too hard. Why?
I thought he wasn't able to see any of the ship's problems here. I guess they all of a sudden started working again.
My ID. Get you where you need to go. Fix the ship.
That's nice that he's giving them his ID so they can access all of the ship, but it would have been nice if he told them how to fix it.
Can't we wake up some of the crew?
It'll take him too long to recover. We don't have that kind of time.
Why would it take them too long to recover? It didn't take the other guy that long to get moving, and he had over 600 medical problems wrong with him. And would it take the crew longer to recover than it would take Jim and Aurora to search this whole area? And we know how well they are at searching the ship.
As soon as I pull this module, the entire computer is going to shut down.
Well, what happens then?
I'll get it back up as quickly as I can.
Hurry! Jim!
Didn't he just say he'd get it up and running as soon as he can? He's going as fast as he can.
It's gonna be okay.
The ship is an imminent failure and the reactor is about to explode. And they have time for this? What happened to hurry?
The door won't stay open. I think I have to stay here.
Hold the door open.
Those idiot engineers again.
If I open the door right now, it'll kill you.
I'm hoping not.
Come back in. We'll think of something else.
Once again, We have time for this?
A lot happened while you slept.
This is hilarious. Imagine waking up after a 120-year voyage to a new Earth on a pristine state-of-the-art spaceship to see this. Jim and Aurora dipped into all the plants and animals in stasis to create this oasis. Who knows how many reserve spare parts and tools were used in order to restore the ship to working order, and I would love to see how much they consumed from the food reserves as well. What the crew thought was going to be a well-stocked ship looks like they're going to have to scramble just to survive on this new planet. Oh well, at least Jim and Aurora were able to live their best life. If you like the video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more.